Hey, today I'm feeding the bees and doing a hive inspection. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Back in the apiary, it's the 15th of August. Right now is the time to feed your bees and get them to start laying up as much honey stores for winter. And it also encourages the queen to lay more eggs and get more brood going. What you got is you're wanting the queen to make a lot of winter bees. The bees you see here at the entrance, these are summer bees. They only have a lifespan of a couple of weeks. Yeah, they work their little wings off going to and fro. Now, the genetics of a winter bee is much different than a summer bee. They have a little bit more to them to help them last through winter. They will last up to 4 to 5 months as their lifetime. So that's what we're trying to do, is encourage the queen to lay a lot of eggs. And we can do that, number one, is by feeding them, making sure there's plenty of food available, so the worker bees will go out, draw that food, and also another set of worker bees will start drawing out comb and making wax comb on that foundation so they have places to store it. Meanwhile, the queen's going to go through the hive and look for empty cells to start laying her eggs, and that's what we want in our beehives. So we want a good, robust, populated colony for the winter months of winter bees. Now, this past week, I moved the feeder away from the hive. I didn't have it in front of the hive like I had it previously. I moved it away from the feeder about 100 feet, and I kind of like watched it for a couple of days and felt, no, that's not far enough, because I felt really uncomfortable about that community feeder being in close proximity to my aviary. My apiary. I wanted to move it further, so I moved it 200 feet from the house. It's now in the front, going down the driveway, and I have those, the community feeder up there. These bees will find it because they got scouts going out all the time, and that feeder draws my bees. It draws feral bees from other colonies that are in the area. It also draws hornets and other predatory insects that like the sugar. Now, it also draws ants. So I haven't noticed any ants around my feeder yet, but I have been lucky so far. Now, the feed I'm using now is, I'm doing 50-50 or 1-to-1. I'm doing, for my beehives, I'm doing 1 part sugar, 1 part water, but for the community feeder, I'm doing 2-to-1. 2 parts water, 1 part sugar. And to the sugar I'm adding for my hives, I'm adding what they call a product called Honey Bee Healthy. I'll leave a code down below so you guys can click on that link and purchase it. It has essential vitamins and nutrients and minerals in it for the bees' health, especially those winter bees, because you need to get them through the winter. I'm also going to do a mite count to see if I have to treat for mites. If I don't have to treat for mites, I don't want to treat for mites. I'm not going to treat for mites just because, for the sake of treating for mites, if I don't have a problem with mites. So there's a couple of different ways I'll show you in a few moments of a mite count that you can do with alcohol. And also I'll show you how I treat the mites if I need to treat them. So right now, I need to take my honey super off. I noticed that the bees did not draw that out, but there's an excuse. I have an excuse for that. This colony I rescued from the wall of a garage that was being updated. And so I got to go cut the panel out and remove this humongous hive. With a hive, the owners of the home wanted to keep the honey, so I literally had to take most all of the honey comb from that hive and got a lot of honey. So they got the honey, I got the bees, I brought them home and started feeding them. And then I didn't worry about honey super until later. I thought, well, maybe I might get honey from these, maybe not, because it was too late in the year to start them on a bare foundation, because this foundation isn't even drawn out yet. So what I'm going to do right now today is remove the honey super. We're going to set it aside. I'm going to treat the super, the frames anyway, and I'll share with you guys later on how I treat those frames or the foundation. And then I'm going to add another brood chamber that's empty. This brood chamber right here, I'm going to put the inner cover here. I'm going to set this on top, and I'm going to put the telescoping cover on top of that. But inside, the inner cover has a hole in it, and I'm putting in an entrance feeder inside on the lid. I personally don't recommend entrance feeders on any of your hives, because it's like the community feeder being too close to your bees. Same goes with one of these entrance feeders. It's inviting feral colony scouts to come in and go back and let the whole colony know that there's food here, and then that incites robbing. I do not want robbing in my hive, especially if it's a weaker hive. It could decimate a weak hive. And so I no longer do entrance feeding. The safest thing for me to do is do it inside the hive. And let me show you how I do that. I'm going to go ahead and get geared up because I do not want to get stung. I do have EpiPens just in case that I need them, because I have allergies. None to bees that I know of yet, but I am developing a lot of allergies to a lot of different things. Yeah, so I got to be careful. Okay, what's going on here? Now you may see some videos where some beekeepers, they go at it almost butt naked. They don't use any protective equipment at all. That's because they're used to their bees are used to them, and they're a very docile bee. Now some colonies are just outright cranky, and since this particular colony is new to me, I just don't want to get stung. I want to be gentle with them, and I want to introduce myself to them and let them get used to me and me get used to them. So let's pull this top off. For those new to beekeeping, this is first of all, this is a hive tool. I'll leave a link down below so you can get one. Actually, I'll leave a link so you can get a whole kit and then go shopping and get one of these in your kit. But I need to pry this loose. This is a telescoping cover. Look at, got bees up there. Now I have a queen excluder here between the brood chamber and the honey super, so I'm not concerned about the queen being up here. Otherwise, you guys want to be really careful about how you're dealing with your frames, especially your new beekeepers. Now, if you look at the top, there's a bunch of bees up there, and they were fanning their butts, you know, just trying to keep the air going through there. We do have a screen bottom board that allows air ventilation through there, but in the winter months, we cover that up. I'm going to use this inner cover right here. We got it. Pop it up a little bit. Now notice I'm not using any smoke right now, but I'm being really gentle. We're in the highest of fire dangers right now, fire extreme. I do live in the wilderness. I do not want to use fire or flames or smoke of any kind. God forbid I should start a fire and burn my neighborhood up. I mean, I just saw a sign. It's just like campfire ban, no campfires, no burning. Don't even fart in the woods. I mean, that's that critical. So look at these ladies. I'm being as gentle as possible. And they're just getting defensive. They're buzzing me. They're not even drawing out that comb yet. I'm just going to rest it down here, and the bees will fly back into the hive because it's right next to their entrance. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove the queen excluder. And we will not need that for the rest of the season. But I do want to inspect my frames to see if they're drawing the frames out, and they are. I can see, oh, they're doing a beautiful job at drawing this new brood chamber out. Look at that. I'm not worried about this hive. They got plenty of honey in there. Put the feeder on and put an empty brood chamber over the top of that. Now when I come out here every couple of days and feed them, I just have to lift the cover, pull that feeder out, and then refill it, put it back in without disturbing the colony. Okay, this one's done. Now I want to inspect the rest of these hives. I suspect that these got really weak and they died off. We're going to open them up just in case anyway. You know what? I'm thinking that what I thought would be a colony of bees living in here was actually just robber bees, because they've been eating on this pollen patty. Because all these frames are empty. They're not even drawn out. Well, that one's drawn out. Onto this one. Now, this did have a lot of activity earlier, because there's a stool right here, and then that's where they were coming in and going out of. But this is my apiary. I usually only maintain 4 hives because I'm just a novice here. I built it so I could do this, set the frames aside. Perfect. There's a little colony right there. The other half is right here. I wonder if I have a queen in there. That's dead. I don't see a queen. I did so well last year, and I promised myself if I failed and lost all my bees, I'm giving up. I'm just not getting back into beekeeping. It's just too much going against me out here. I like the way that the comb is all drawn out, so I could use these to help a colony benefit with an already drawn out comb and get started early. This is a screen bottom board, and there's a bunch of dead bees on there. That's too bad. There's a pollen patty there. got a bunch of maintenance to do on these. I'll just give them a good pressure wash. And freeze the frames, get them ready. Make sure they're pest free. This is why there's poop on the front, because I have notches cut in here so the bees have a top entrance into the hive if they need to. Okay, let's see what we got in here, or what we don't have in here. Yeah, I don't see any evidence of anything left. I think what I was seeing was just robbing, because I don't think there was a colony in here. I think all that activity we saw earlier in the season was just a bunch of robbing. See, there's a hornet or a wasp right there. See, there's a lot of poop on that. That's not right. Yeah, there's a lot of wasps in here. Well, I'm learning not to feed my bees outside the hive in the bee yard. I gotta move the stuff away so I don't have this problem with robbing, and then a weak hive not having a chance to thrive. Well, hopefully this robust hive here, hopefully it'll be strong enough to make it through winter. And what I'll do is split it in the spring, because that's when an optimum time I've learned to do the splits, and at least try to get 2 more hives out of that thing. Okay, 1 colony of bees, that's it. That's all I have. So, this colony is dead or gone. This colony is gone. The yellow colony is gone. I got wax moths to treat. I've got 1 good hive. I'm going to continue feeding them and letting them do their thing.
Okay, there you go. So the first way we check is the powdered sugar sampling system, and then the second way, a lot of people use the powdered sugar system because it doesn't kill any bees. So we'll do that first, and we'll use the same bees and use the alcohol sampling method to see how effective the powdered sugar was. All the bees are thoroughly coated in powdered sugar. It's been 3 or 4 minutes now, so we're going to shake them out.
Shake the powdered sugar out and get the mites.
And get the mites. And
what are you counting there?
Well, none of them really have the traditional shape, and they're not really red either.
Ant parts, because this jar had some ants
Well,
in the bottom of it.
Okay, that's probably what we're seeing then.
Yeah, the ant parts, but that one was definitely a mite.
Right. I don't see anything that looks like a mite in this batch.
Okay, so you think my mite population, based upon those 3, might be non-treatable?
I'm going to say let's go ahead and treat anyway.
Just to make sure that hive. Now we're going to treat all the hives?
We treat all the hives. What you want to do is make sure you treat all the hives with the same thing, same time, same everything. Because if you have a hive that you didn't check, it's your Varroa mite bomb.
Yeah.
And you treat everybody else, then the bomb's going to get you later.
Okay.
So you want to treat them all the same. So We're going to use MITE quick strips, which is formic acid. And we're just going to do a half treatment today.
Okay, so let's go do that treatment. The goggles. We take that out, and we just stick this inside the entrance and let it set. And you do this oxalic acid treatment. I was told by my beekeeper mentor, just do it twice a year, and then do a mite count once you're done. On the bottom of this beehive, there's a white tray under there, and I could pull that white tray out and kind of see what the mites are, the mite population are in there. Yeah, one of the problems living up here is we're in the wilderness and we get a lot of forest fires, and it gets socked in with smoke a lot. And I understand that bees, when they sense there's a forest fire nearby, especially when the smoke gets too thick, they'll go to the hive and they'll take their stores and get ready to flee the hive. And just by personal observation, I think that's what's happening with the absconding, because if there's a die-off, the bottom of the screen boards should be covered with bee corpses, but this is not the case. They're just absconding, they're leaving, and it coincidentally they leave. I'm suffering the losses around the time where we have the forest fires and the smoke gets really thick in here on the farm. So I wonder if that's the cause of it. And if that's the cause of it, I can't battle that. I just can't. We're about 40 miles from the McKinney fire and the Yeti fire. And then we just had, last couple of days, we just had a fire over the ridge here about 10 miles from the house. I really don't get concerned and report to you guys about bad fires unless it's within a 10-mile radius of the homestead. Well, I'm Jerry Hansen, your host. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I want to thank you for joining me on my adventures of triumphs and failures. Yeah, I will show you guys my failures and I'll show you my triumphs. And in this way you guys will know not to do what I tried, because it just don't work. And I just hope in the future I can be a little bit more successful. If we can only just stop the forest fires from happening. Man, that's really disappointing and disconcerting to have to battle that. Plus all these other predators that come in, the robbers, the bee robbers. Yeah. And my apiary is not very big anyway. I mean, some of these beekeepers, they have huge apiaries. Now, my buddy, who actually is a beekeeping master beekeeper, he went to the University of Montana and got a degree in it. He's even had huge losses also, and he lives about 6 miles that way from me. And he just had a big fire just a mile above his house on the ridge. So I wonder how his beehives went this year. Anyway, stay tuned to more videos. You could do that by subscribing and clicking that bell icon that alerts you to new videos as I do upload them. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't care one way or the other. Leave a comment or even some helpful tips to help me try to become more successful. Again, The mite control, miticide, there's fumigation. I use the fume, and also controlling wax moths. And I just put my frames out for the chickens to eat the larvae, and then I'll put them in a plastic bag and stick them in a deep freeze for about 5 days, and that should kill them. And then I'll pressure wash all the frames and the boxes, let that sun dry, and then put them away for the winter. After this, I'm just doing 4 sets of hives. That's it. We'll see you guys in the next adventure. Bye-bye now.